guys, and welcome to today's vlog. It is a Saturday, usual day for a vlog. Today brings us to somewhere that I've got fond memories of in the late 70s, the mid to late 80s. Used to come here a lot with my parents. Rachel used to come with her parents and her sister many years ago. Let's have a look at this place. Welcome everyone to Wicksteed Park. Wiki Bear and friends have their own show. Could be interesting to watch at some point. Right here, the old remnants of the go-kart track, very similar to the racetrack that was at the Magic Kingdom. We had the bridge that went over the top and people would queue up. You can see there the two aisles there, but this is different. It didn't have the barriers that the car would bounce off. They was free roaming and you would go round it on an oval, similar to sort of Daytona, Indiana, and the track would just follow its way round. Obviously it's old and outdated, not used for many years now, but yeah, you used to go round. I think it was 2 laps and then you would pull in, and very similar cars. Usually very, I said, very similar to the MK Raceway, and it's a bygone era that's no longer with us, sadly. These are just your run. It would have been near pit area, and as you can see where it starts to bank up in the distance. Here you go, this is just the backside oval. I said it just used to bank round. The actual internal part of the park, that's a more modern, standard sort of starter level family coaster. Behind it a log flume ride, your Invaders Galaxy ride there. None of this was about back in the 70s and 80s. There was a roller coaster here, more of a Big Dipper I guess, and I think there might have been a merry-go-round. Apart from that, all this has come here in the last couple of decades. At the back there you have bumper cars. They were situated somewhere else, I'm pretty sure they were. You know what, even I could do that coaster. Some form of walkway that I've certainly never seen before here. Said it has been, must be 15-16 years since I've been here myself with Rach. We come here when my sister and her young family were very young. In fact, I can hear the train going round, so timing might be right. Here we go, like many of your single track locomotives, your area such as Chessington, even Wicksteed's had them in the past, Walt Disney World, all of these places have your small locomotive, kids there waving, having a great time. That was one of the rides that we certainly would have gone on when I was younger. An area of interest to me and my family from yesteryear. I can still see track marks there. This is something that has been gone a long time, but they used to have what was called duck. There was 2 of them, maybe 3 even. They were Second World War amphibious vehicles for the landings, your likes of Normandy, etc. in the Second World War. What they done, they changed them, they sprayed them up. You would enter, I think there's an entrance point somewhere over here. The vehicle would enter the water, it would be near enough at the top, it would go round, do a loop and come back out up here, back onto land. Wow. Still surprised that there's tracks here. That must be, 2 decades easily. I believe this area was one of the places where you used to get bumper boats and little kiddies paddle boats. Now just pretty much looked after by the Swan over there in the background. There's a jetty area, so obviously people go in, they'd land, get on there and go out. don't know if there's any history there at all. And these are more model boats. This would have come later on. Hello big fella, what you doing? Come to say hello? We don't have any bread or snacks for you unfortunately, but you have a great day. These statues of small children defy what used to be on this spot. This used to be a lido. There used to be swimming pools as well, outdoor swimming pools, but there used to be a general lido here that families could come have a dip in the water. You certainly wouldn't want to dip in that now. Not with all the algae, and as you can see from the distance there, these fellas over here have decided to use it as a public toilet. But there you go. That's some time ago, that is though. Did I go in it? I'm sure I went in the lido. Absolutely sure I did. Now all of this area around here, this pool, you would have a large turn of the century steamer paddle boat that would go around here. The Queen or something, Louisiana Queen. I've got a picture of it here on my phone, if that's focusing in. Very, very similar to what you get going round just in front of the Haunted Mansion and Tom Sawyer Island of the Magic Kingdom. The type of boat you also get around the back end of the, hopefully to be returning soon, Fantasmic. But yeah, that would traverse its way all the way around the lake round here. People would probably get on around the jetty area over there, and it was fun. I just remember the paddles, looking down at the paddles as you're going around. But I don't know what happened to it. I don't know whether it sunk or whether it just got too old to maintain and they moved it on. Might just be a relic that's somewhere in a museum now. But this was something that I remember going into the 80s, let's say. So what was the swimming pool, the open air swimming pool, is now a sand pit. Make our way over this small little bridge, and in the distance there, that was, growing up, my all-time favourite amusement ride. It's called the Chute. I used to believe it was called the boat launch, and I think some point it was perhaps maybe sponsored by the RNLI or something like that. But you would basically queue up them stairs to a hut across the top. You'd get in this boat which is being towed back up, and it's on a winch system. It would just let it go, come down, hit the water at the bottom. You'd get absolutely soaked, but I simply loved it. And this is from around 1926, I believe. See, the winch would pull the boat back to the top. The next bunch of guests would get on and it would drop. And there you have it. Growing up, my all-time favourite amusement park ride. Many, many times over the years I've been on that. Not today, just vlogging today. We'll probably come back to it at some point. The boat pretty much looks the same as it always has done. It's probably been remodeled over the years, but yeah, what a fantastic addition to any park. I said the building itself over the years, that would have been more open around there. They've bricked it up, and you would make your way up the stairs, queue, get on the boat at the top there, and then exit down the other side. It used to have a flat roof, it's now more tilted, but for something that is a good 90 odd years old, that's some going. This ride first opened the same time as the original Disneyland opened in 1955, and it's still going strong now. I'm not quite sure whether this is something that's been added in recent years or whether it goes back a long way, but that looks like a like a panning for gold, probably a fool's gold. You'd go around there, collect deposits, and then you'd but something you probably pay for and get like a little bag with a few rocks in it. The whole of this area here is being regenerated, so that could be quite old. Look at that, we can even add in some urbex to today's adventure. An old shack, some of the old carriages, an old platform area. There goes your small train again. So a little bit about the guy himself. Charles Wicksteed was an inventor from the Kettering area, turn of the century, last century, and his idea, which is very Disney-esque, was to create an area where kids of all ages, regardless of whether they were very poor or very rich, would have somewhere that would be a safe haven where they could come and play. So he put his ideas together. I don't think there was a lot of money involved, and he created the grounds and some of the early rides for kids to come and play here. It's only on opening that it come to fruition and to realise that it was even bigger than what it was, and the whole family could enjoy a day out here. So it's very reminiscent of Disney and his so-called Daddy's Day Out with the two daughters, where they would go to the amusement parks, go on the merry-go-round, and his ideas for Disneyland come from that. Now that was 1955. Now we're talking a good 30 years prior to that. This park itself has loosely, let's say loosely celebrated, because it went into administration about 3 or 4 years ago. It did survive, and now the park itself is 100 years old, which I think is totally amazing. That's not bad pricing for what it is. Not exactly Universal's velocicoaster. It is a ride I could certainly do, but for a park that is, if you have a look up there, or just down in front of me, park that dates back to 1921. Used to remember these growing up. You'd actually shoot the targets, but there'd be someone with a gun who would shoot back at you and you'd get soaked. Probably still roughly the same price. Used to be about £1 a go, maybe £2 nowadays. Still not my type of ride. Many people having fun on that. The old train station is situated there in front of us. You pan round appears to be 4, maybe 5 theme locations totally in the park. You're looking at acreage of around 147 acres for this park. Now that is more than the Magic Kingdom itself. I know it's a bit more sparse and it's a bit more spread out, but MK, Magic Kingdom, is only 107 acres. That followed by Universal Studios at 108 acres. Island Adventures is only 101. Whereas the likes of SeaWorld, which is also spread out, is 200 acres. Epcot is 300, which, when you sort of see how much that takes out on your knees when you're doing the parks, that's understandable. And then obviously the whole of the Walt Disney World area is a whopping 27,000 acres. But this isn't actually the biggest park in the UK. There's more space here, but it is Alton Towers at 900 acres that is the biggest. It's just a size comparison. Said they could do a heck of a lot with this place, but obviously maybe they just kept it as an amusement park, didn't want to go to it. There's not major theming. That area over there with the dinosaur ride has a certain element of theming. This is sort of like your, it's not a main street. There is a building, reminds me of the old Newport Bay in Florida, or obviously around Disneyland Paris, but it's not set up the same. There are a few shops, a few eateries, etc. Around this area here, I believe where these folks are standing here, I believe that's where the old BMX and skating park was, but that's been gone a long time. As I said, it's not quite like a main street, but it's got a nice turnless entry, perhaps even American feel to it, like a boardwalk, but I like it. Plaque here with a ship dedicated to those American troops of the Second World War. There's an old large zip liner over there that is no longer in operation. I believe it would have made its way down here, maybe a platform here to there, but this area here, you used to be able to park here, and I remember with a tree line with a bit of shade, it's around this area that we would park. At the time my dad would have had a Chevy Impala, big white Chevy Impala. We used to park here, and it was myself, my dad, my mum and my sister would put out a little picnic blanket and have lunch. Now a picnic for us at that time, it was, if I remember, it was either a tan or an orange large plastic hampery type box. In that was solid plastic orange plates, there was orange small beakers and a green plastic salt and pepper shaker. Now what we'd have as a picnic would be rounds of sandwiches, so there'd be sandwiches cut up into quarters, maybe halves. That would be cheese and not cheese and pineapple, almost that's a pizza topping. Cheese and cucumber, ham and tomato. I was never really a fish person, so my mum wouldn't have put stuff like that in there. We would have had your likes of your sausage rolls. If you're American, a sausage roll is a general sausage meat covered in a pastry. We'd also have pork pies, which you don't get the small, you get the small ones now, then it would have been a slice of pork pie. Now we're sort of not too far from Melton Mowbray, where the pork pie actually orientated from. There also would have been crisps, fizzy pop, not so much Coke, that wasn't a regular thing. Money wasn't about really in the 70s and 80s, and parks like this, although Disney World would have opened in 71 and I was born in 71, I didn't even really know of his existence till probably the 80s, when they done reruns of Disney's World of Colour. That would be on the TV, and then obviously over the years people went and ventured out into their once in a lifetime holidays, which has now become to us maybe our 15th once in a lifetime holiday coming up in October. But back to this place, yep, it was the family thing, the big day out for many people, and we'll just sit here, have a picnic, have drinks, and you wouldn't have a dessert as such because it'd always be over to an ice cream van for what we would call a 99, which is an ice cream with a Mr. Whippy ice cream in top with 1 or 2 maybe chocolate flakes covered in sprinkles or crushed nuts, etc. But it just added to the day, and it was just a fantastic part of growing up. Well, it was a lesser park to this, as in my opinion, which was Billing Aquadrome, which is maybe 15 miles further south of here, but this was always the big day out. A beautifully decorated old ride, the swing. I wouldn't even go on it that height, regardless of the size of the one that's in Florida. There's about 400 feet. That's more likes of Get Binky, Del Campbell screaming on one of them. Orlando's High Flyer, no chance. Charles Wicksteed himself up there. This is an old galloper. It says 1921. Whether this is original or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, reminds you of Disney and his daddy's day with the 2 daughters. Beautiful old ride. Now this area here, although it's the park and it's more modern, you can see up there on the slope you've got a couple of wooden type plank things. They would probably be original, as is the dragon type thing at the back there. The witch's hat at the back is regenerated and more modern, and the little roundabout slides, I think there's a couple of big slides at the back, but this spot here was where the pirate ships were. So if I show you a picture of those, don't know if you can quite pick that up or not with the reflection off the phone, but there, that was a pirate ship. I believe there was 2, possibly 3 of them here, and they are what put me off of roller coasters from then on, because as that went up I was dangling off the back of it, off the lap bar that went across. So that freaked me out. I think I was only about 9 years old. Bit of controversy about on the back there. I always thought they were mermaids, but by all accounts they were naked ladies, sort of. One was a Navajo Indian, there was a white woman, I can't remember all of it, but yeah, they would have been situated in this sort of area here, and since then that's all gone and they've put in a more modern theme park. I suppose they call it Progress. Classic ice cream van alert. That even predates me. Ours is certainly more modern. We would have had a Bedford truck that was converted into an ice cream van that we still get going up our streets nowadays. But yeah, that's what people would have loved, queuing up for them for your 99 ice creams. That is seriously old. Wow. And even the steering wheel controls, all very, very dated. I said perhaps not, but they do have the look and feel, apart from this underneath bit, so it probably is remade, repurposed, but that's what the original type of park area was. And these used to frequent all your local parks when you'd leave school. That would rock backwards and forwards. They were pretty harmless. But it's your witch's hat over there and your roundabout. The amount of people whose legs got caught under the roundabout years and years ago is unbelievable. Whether this is in the same place or not, what there is an aviary, we believe that is the spot of possibly where the Cine 2000 was. Could possibly be further in that direction, but the Cine 2000, is, I remember it, you'd have a guy doing a high dive off a cliff. You do an experience of being on the back of a motorcycle going through tight, narrow streets, possibly in Brazil, Mexico, and then I definitely remember, you would then travel to Busch Gardens and go on the Kumba, and you just basically, as if it's like not quite a 3D experience, but you're looking at it. It was like, if anyone's been to Epcot and remembers, you're sitting around with the bars with O Canada, that sort of experience. And we believe now that this aviary is where it was. It's certainly the same shape, that's for sure. Okay guys, that's going to do it for today. Hope I brought it across well. Really can't tell nowadays how things are going, but there you go. It's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, to be honest with you. Reminiscing about, obviously my father's no longer with us, my sister's a bit poorly, and yeah, it's just as time catches up with everybody, and to realise that now, looking back at this, I was probably 11-12 years old. Now I'm 51, but still great things to look forward to. Florida coming up, that should be a great experience for myself, Rach, the Scoobies, and you guys who will be coming along with us. And with that, enjoy the rest of your weekend, be safe, I'll see you in the movies, bye for now.